Hello, beautiful souls. This is Nova with Blissfully Unbothered. I just figured I would do a little check-in video this morning. It's a beautiful morning here on the Big Island of Hawaii. I am on a mission to try to maintain weight loss that I had secondary to a long year of some anxiety, a little depression related to a bad divorce, which I literally recently finished the divorce last month. And, you know, I'm a woman in my mid-50s, 56 to be exact, facing a huge new challenge, a new transition in life. And I felt compelled to create this channel. It's kind of something that I've been thinking about in different ways for a long time, but now I just feel compelled to share this journey because I know that there are many people out there kind of going through similar circumstances. Big shifts, big challenges in life that lead us to have to kind of go in internally, figure out who we are, what our place is in this world, figure out how to love ourselves, being alone again after divorce. That's something huge. And I'm realizing it's been about a year since being separated. And I'm realizing that, wow, it really goes through phases. I have my moments where I feel very empowered and I feel stronger and I feel okay being alone. And then I have my days where out of nowhere it hits me and I just feel lonely. Yesterday I went to a beautiful Saturday morning farmer's market and bought lots of veggies and fruit, again, to try to get control of my diet, to try to stay on this mission of eating better, not allowing myself to kind of fall into emotional eating like I did in the past. And so I went to the farmer's market and was feeling really good, chatting with a couple of people. And then I just suddenly, as I walked to the car, I just had this pang and I shed a couple of tears because, back in the past, that's something that me and my husband would do periodically, stop at a farmer's market in the morning. I would look over at him to pick can you pick the best fruit? Because he's originally from the Caribbean, and I always just relied on him to pick better fruit. And I don't know, I just had this pang of sadness. And then I kind of as I was driving home, I got a little frustrated with myself because I was just thinking, wow, it's been almost a year. When do you kind of get past this? When do you stop associating different things that you do with oh, I used to do this with him. Oh, me and my husband used to do this. And then ultimately I had to just forgive myself and have grace with myself and understand it truly is a process. It's a journey. Grieving doesn't just go through the 5 stages of grief and it is over. Grieving can last for a long time, and it can show its little, I won't even call it its ugly head, but it'll show itself at different times in your life. And really, the way that you see growth within yourself is you can recognize a difference in how you cope. If this was a year ago, I would have cried for an hour. Yesterday I cried a couple of little tears, and I give myself grace for that. That's growth. That's transition that I've had. And then coincidentally, I happened to see him at a vending event that I had for my business, and I had this moment when we saw each other that I just wished that he would express some kind of burning desire to have me back again. And I had to kind of work through those emotions too. don't need that. You don't need somebody to desire you. Desire yourself. Desire yourself. You're awesome. You're fabulous. You're fabulous in your 50s. Desire yourself. Desire your own company. Be okay with that. And so, anyways, this morning I woke up. I gave myself a little bubble bath time, burned a little incense, listened to some meditative music, and kind of just relaxed and started my day that way. And then I came out here, and I have something to do with within a half hour, I think, at this point. So I knew I didn't have a lot of time. So I decided to do a yoga session, which felt great, because yoga, for me, it really moves my body. I focus on my breathing, and I always feel relaxed after. I mean, the combination of the bubble bath and the yoga, and this wasn't like intensive yoga. This was more like a meditative yoga, just like 20 minutes, some beautiful stretching moves that made me focus in on my breathing. And don't let yoga fool you, because if you're consistent with yoga, your body will let you know. You're going to start to feel muscles in places that you don't normally feel it. And it's going to give you an indication that yoga is working, even though sometimes you're like, I'm just lifting my arms in the air, I'm just breathing. No, it works. It works for your mentality, but it works for your muscles. So that was my bliss boost for the day, my 20-minute yoga session that also eased my mind. I'm realizing that I have to fall in love with my solitude, which many times I do. And many times I have been experiencing that. It feels beautiful to get out and do my walks. And I think too, it's just been a busy week, and I worked 6 nights in a row and then didn't have a lot of sleep. And which also shows when we don't take care of ourselves physically, psychologically, and emotionally, it can leave its mark. I think that's why I felt more emotionally vulnerable yesterday, because I was overtired and I wasn't getting good rest. So yeah, I'm still trying to stay focused each day. Even if I didn't get in my 5-mile walk or whatever, I still did something. I still did a bliss boost. And I also talk about bliss bundles, because on these type of weeks where you don't have a lot of isolated time for specific exercise, or isolated time for a long, or a longer meditation, which, don't get me wrong, my meditations are about 10 minutes, 15 minutes at most. But I don't think it's about the length of time. I think it's about the quality and the intention that you put in it. And meditation also is practice. But what I try to do is I try to bundle what I'm doing together. So, I try to have focused breathing when I'm doing a bliss boost. Or I try to contemplate things or think about things about myself, about what I want to do, about my goals, about the challenges that I feel like I'm facing, and then acknowledge them. Not just distract myself from my emotions, which, throughout this year, I practiced a lot of distraction and a lot of depression. And I now, in contemplating and looking back in the way that I handled things in the past, I'm recognizing that was a pattern for me. When I felt pain, when I felt challenges, I distracted myself. I didn't I didn't accept the emotions. I wanted to get past the emotions. And so I'm practicing that a lot more for myself. I'm keying into what I'm feeling. I'm acknowledging it. And I'm giving it its place. But then I'm making a choice of how I'm going to continue to deal with it. I'm going to make a choice of whether I'm going to let this dictate my whole day, or am I going to let this be a moment, such as when I left the farmer's market yesterday, shed a couple of tears, then went through a phase of feeling a little bit ashamed of myself, and then quickly made the choice, no, that's not correct. There's nothing to be ashamed of. This is a natural part of your process. And girl, look at you. You're evolving. A year ago, you would have boohooed this whole way home. Right now, you're literally working through the phases of figuring it out. And you should be proud of yourself. Pat yourself on the back. You're doing great. You are fabulous in your 50s. Yeah, and so by the time I got home, I was like cheering myself on. And then, again, to have the challenge of seeing my ex, and it's always kind of emotional because I'm kind of sad, but I'm kind of happy to see him. And, and I know like my friends and family probably would think, what on earth would you be happy to see him for? Like, that's your problem. No, I recognize that he's a complex human being, and he made choices that were not good choices and that hurt me very badly, but that doesn't define everything about him. And so even that, to be able to see him not have resentment, but also have to get to a place where I work through these emotions of still sometimes feeling like I just want to see that he still wants me. I had to work through that, and that's okay. That's okay. I'm giving myself the grace that is okay. So, I don't know. I feel good that I woke up this morning feeling bright, saying a prayer, being grateful, and doing a bliss boost before I start another busy day where I'm going to open my shop, work my shop all day, and then have to go to a night shift again. Not too much sleep today, but I'll catch up on that sleep tomorrow, and I'm going to have a beautiful day. I'm going to put some beautiful vibes out in the world. I know I'm going to get some beautiful vibes back, and I'll do a couple of bliss boosts while I'm in my shop. If there's nobody around, I'm going to do some leg lifts. I'm going to do some standing air crunches. I'm going to do some standing jacks, and I'll get my body movement in today, and then I'll make sure I nourish myself with some of those beautiful vegetables, and I'm going to actually make a good salad to take with me. I'm going to have a beautiful day, and I hope you have a beautiful day. If this vibes with you at all, please like it, consider subscribing. This is new. Not many people here yet, but I'm also manifesting that this is going to turn into a beautiful community, that we can be each other's accountability partners for this life, to check in and say, share tips on how we're doing bliss boosts and bliss bundles and bliss ups, which are what I call these moments that I praise myself, that I give myself grace, that I love on myself. So all these things that are positive to help us just be fabulous in this life. So anyways, I'm going to check out. I'm going to get started with my day, and I already started with my day. I'm going to continue on with my beautiful day. I'm rambling. This is Nova. Peace and love, and I hope to see you again.